Prince Charles has contracted coronavirus, but the encouraging details that the symptoms are mild and he otherwise remains in good health.
Yes, James. He flew up with the Duchess to Birkall, their home in Scotland, on Sunday, not on a commercial flight, on an RAF flight, and he was tested on Monday after getting mild symptoms. He's up and he's as well as can be expected. They're self-isolating with a small team up there, not going into the local community. Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall, hasn't got the virus. She's self-isolating away from him at Birkall. Luckily, it's a big enough estate and house for them to do that. And hopefully she won't get the virus. But the important thing here is that when did the Prince of Wales is a very fit man, and I would fully expect him, and hope and pray that he does come through this. But he last had contact with the Majesty of the Queen, of course, well into her 90s, 93, nearly 94, on the 12th of March, and that was also the last time he had any public engagements. And they're saying the Queen is still in good health. So he's been in contact with his sons, both William and Harry too, and he's sitting up and he's as well as can be expected.
In many ways, God willing that his recovery is swift and complete, he's quite a useful emblem, really, for the broader picture, isn't he? Because I remember seeing some footage relatively recently of him making something of a joke out of it, but still being very conscientious in not shaking hands with people at a time when the President of the United States was wiping his grubby mitts all over the microphones at press conferences. Prince Charles was getting out of official limousines and declining to shake hands with people. So he's quite on the ball with stuff like this generally.
Well, he was, although he admitted on both occasions he put out his hand. He must have shaken thousands and thousands of millions, probably, of hands over the years. And it must be the most natural thing to do. But I mean, he did a namaste, didn't he? And it got quite a lot of contact.
That's right.
Of course,
yes.
So Camilla was seen getting an engagement, getting out of some small confined area, and said she was self-isolating. A lot of people then, of course, were in a way trying to make a joke of it, make light of it. But in the last couple of weeks, we've seen dramatic rises in the number of cases, dramatic rises in the number of deaths, and obviously expectation that we will go along the way of Italy and Spain. So things are changing. But the issue here, of course, is, it's a very high-profile person. It shows you that anybody whatsoever, I'm sure the Prince of Wales is very conscientious with his hygiene, but anyone can get it.
Course.
And the big fear, of course, is if it has been passed to Her Majesty. At the moment, they're saying she's in good health. They're not saying anything more than that because, of course, she's at a far more vulnerable age. And, of course, the same with the Duke of Edinburgh.
They have protocols in place, finally, Robert Jobson, for pretty much all manner of scenarios, whether it's ensuring that not too many members of the family are on the same flight in case something were to go wrong with a flight. But would they have, given that this is according to most public health experts, this could be described as a once-in-a-century occurrence, would they have had specific protocols in place for dealing with something, the contagious nature of something like this? Or will they be moving on a sixpence like the rest of the country?
Personally, I think probably the latter, because the reality is it hasn't really kicked in to anybody in any walk of life. I mean, we've had Prime Minister of Canada's wife with coronavirus. We've had tests with the princes in Monaco. But this is probably the most high-profile person in the world so far that has been confirmed with the actual virus. And it certainly brings it home to everybody. It's interesting, I think, that the Prince went to Birkall in Scotland. We understand that the Queen. We know the Queen is in Windsor with the Duke of Edinburgh, and probably I would expect the Cambridges to go to Anmer Hall in Norfolk, all as far quite a distance out of the central area where the pandemic seems to be taking hold in London.
I've just seen they last were in contact, the Queen and Prince Charles, on March the 12th, so that 2-week incubation period, if she had contracted it from him, would be up tomorrow.